Wednesday.
So you know what that
So you know what
means?
that means?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wine
Wine
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Join your
Join
host,
your host,
James
James
McGee, for a
McGee,
glass of wine and discussion
and
about current
discussion about
events.
current
No
events.
matter what's
No
going
matter
on in
what's
the
going on in
world,
the world,
it's easier to
easier
swallow
to
mixed
swallow
with some
mixed with some
wine.
wine.
Welcome back to the James McGee Show, Wine Wednesday. I am your host. I am James McGee. So last night we weren't able to do Two Finger Tuesday, so I got your two favorite co-hosts tonight, Wine Wednesday, because we got a lot to talk about tonight. Tom Wells and Joe Collins. How the hell are y'all?
Doing well. How about you?
Shit,
Cheers,
man, I'm
mate.
doing good. And cheers to
great.
y'all. We're going
Doing
to talk
great.
about what we're drinking. So, Tommy, you want to talk about, since you don't drink wine, you want to talk about what you're drinking?
Yep. I'm always sticking with the bourbon action. So tonight I'm having a little bit of a combination. I'm having a thing called Freddy's Root Beer, which is bottled at Buffalo Trace. It was one of their, if I remember correctly, it was their custodian that came up with this recipe, and it was so good they decided to bottle it. And you mix it with this thing here, which is called the Bourbon Cream of Buffalo Trace Distillery. It's a little bit like Bailey's, but it has the Buffalo Trace flavor to it.
Oh, man.
And when you mix it together, you get this.
That looks tasty. That looks tasty. So you know what? Since it's Wine Wednesday, that's kind of a girly looking drink. So you
There you go. There you go.
In tonight, Tommy.
Oh,
Joseph,
at least
what
he's
you
not
drinking?
drinking champagne or something.
Yeah.
Let me get my finger.
You don't have an umbrella drink.
So one of my favorite wineries, it's Saint Chateau Michel. It's a 2018 Cabernet. Indian Wells. I figured I'd pick this bottle out for Mr. Wells tonight.
Thank you.
It's
I'm
really,
humbled.
really smooth. And I know that you try to stay around $20. I have no idea what this cost. My wife bought it. So
Well, now I don't know. It's 2018. It's still going to, because I'm going to tell you, you can get Saint Chateau Michel for around $14 sometimes. So, but that's probably the higher end. So it's going to be around $20. It's not going to be.
No, it's not it's definitely not
a good wine.
Bottle.
But no, it's a good wine. So I'm going back.
Yeah.
I went back to my my go-to, which is Juggernaut, which under $20, man. You can't really beat Juggernaut Cab. So let's give a toast to us being able to come back this week, us not getting shot in the ear, and us being able to talk about and speak freely because we fucking live in America. So cheers to y'all.
That's right.
I'm telling you, some of us have bigger targets that are ears than others.
Mine, yeah, I could, clubs that doesn't have ears like mine, man. Mine have got, I could see me getting shot in the ear.
Mine used to be still got a lot more, but luckily they've kind of folded back over the years.
So we got a lot to talk about tonight. So I've been talking about it all week. Yeah, I did something Sunday on it. I don't know if y'all watched it, and then Monday I went on Tom, some Cincinnati guys. Rich got me hooked up with One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. Some super guys, man. Jason Kiefer, Andrew Pappas. That guy's a wild man. That guy makes us look like fucking liberals. He is a wild man. Good dude. Dead Leg, forget it. Josh, I think his name was, another good guy. I had a lot of fun. It was the first time I had ever been a guest on a podcast, and I told them, man, I think I want to give this hosting shit up, man. Being a guest was fun. And we talked about that, broke some things down. And man, this is a bad deal. This is, you take Trump out of it, you take a name out of it, all right? This is the former president of the United States and the future president of the United States. And if anybody doubted he is the future president, he has zero chance of losing now. He's zero chance. This is not okay. It's not. And for anybody that think it's okay because it's Trump is the problem in this nation. So I'll tell y'all where I was home when it happened. And, it's just, you're going to always remember where you were. I remember exactly where I was 9/11. And I remember where I was here. I was home and we were watching our evening ritual, watching Family Feud. Instead of watching the depressing news, we watched Family Feud. And it didn't cut in, nothing cut. And my daughter started texting us. Now she was in New Orleans celebrating her 22nd birthday. So I know she wasn't sober. All we got a text from her that said Trump shot. I didn't know if he shot somebody, if he was taking shots. I didn't know what he was doing. So I said, well, let me get on. I get online and it was just blowing up. So that's where I was. Joe, where were you at?
We were actually driving back. We did our walkthrough at our new home up in Wisconsin. And we hit the road Saturday afternoon to start heading back. And we were getting texts as well from someone. So we quickly started. Colleen was passenger, so she started quickly surfing the internet to find out what was going on. So, but yeah, so we were somewhere between Wisconsin and Texas on the interstate. So.
Tommy, what about you?
Well, it probably wouldn't surprise you. I was working on the railroad that night. I was working the Cincinnati dinner train, and because we can't have our phones out when we're running a train, I did not know about it at all until we got back to the loading area, which was, I guess, I found out finally after we get back to the loading area, get everybody off the train, then they clean the train, so we go back there and just kind of hang out while they're doing that. And that's when I started looking at my phone and learned what happened, and I was just dumbstruck that, just the whole thing. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, you know why it's hard to believe, Tom? Because it shouldn't happen. It's not, to me, in that setting, and I'm not a conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that, the CIA shot him and all that, and the Secret Service, that didn't happen. This was negligence. It's appearing now to me, just the more information that's coming out. It's not just negligence in my book anymore. This is gross negligence. I don't think that he was being targeted. I just think that the incompetency level was that high. The reason why it went on they asked me to come on that podcast is I did one Sunday, and I'd laid some things out because, I don't claim to know a lot about anything. I don't know shit about nothing, but I have coordinated 4, and this is unique. Our agency was the lead agency on 4 visits in 4 years of Trump. So I do understand 2 of them were rallies. One of them, he was visiting a petrochemical. He had a small event at a petrochemical in one of the industries here. And then he came and visited for the hurricane in 2020. So Rich had heard the podcast and they asked me to come on and talk about, because I had some inner workings of it. That just doesn't happen. There's no way in that scenario without incompetency. And really, and y'all know how we all are. We're not criticizing. I don't like the Monday quarterback. I do not like to talk about, back in our day, our day's over and we all accept that and know that. And they got good people out there. But something happened that day. And I didn't get real critical until I heard the Secret Service make the statement that was the outer perimeter and local agencies. You know what I said to that? If y'all didn't listen to that show, I said, fuck you to whoever said that, because you have Secret Service now they do investigation on financial crimes, but when it comes to their protection, they have one job: keep the president, or in this case, the former president, keep the principal alive. That's your job. All we do is, and I'm sure y'all been involved in these details too. There's no doubt. Local agencies do comprise of, to me, 80% of the security, but it's always under the direction of the Secret Service.
Right.
Their job is to say, I need 5 guys here, I need 2 guys here. You're not blaming nobody. And that's what's wrong with you. That tells me everything about that agency. When they started, or the leadership, the field people that I've worked with, they're the finest agency I have ever worked with. But it shows me about the director. Cheadle and Mayorkas should be gone. I don't know why they're there today. Mayorkas should have been gone years ago, because it falls under the Homeland Security Secretary. But Cheadle, I don't know why she's still there today. Joe, what's your take on what's your take on what you've seen?
Well, and,
Besides pathetic.
obviously, I agree. I agree with what you're saying there. The Secret Service have never been, nor were they ever designed to be a reactionary force, and they had to react to a situation as after it happened. That is not their prime mission. Their prime mission is to not have to react and to do everything leading up to the fact to protect the protectee, right?
Yep.
And if they were having the intel that supposedly law enforcement had that there was a suspicious person in the activity, Trump should have never been on that stage.
Simple
Never.
fix. Get him off the fucking stage. Simple
Never get him
fucking
on the
fix.
stage. They knew
Yeah.
they knew before he got on the stage that someone was a questionable character in the crowd.
They have shoved principals off of out of the line of fire and off of a stage for way less shit than that. Way less than that.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
and
sorry,
here's what it really boils down to is they haven't had this happen since Reagan. So what it all boils down to is that they've done a whole lot of training and they've not had a response until this, and they failed. They failed at the response because they should have never had to respond. So that's where it is. And blaming local law enforcement, me too. I've been involved in these situations before. They are out doing the advanced work. Everything had mapped out. Everybody knew about this building, right?
Yep.
There's no reason that building was not limited access or somebody's ass wasn't sitting on that roof.
Right.
I don't get that.
No way. So,
and they need to. I like transparency, and her going to do an interview. She wasn't ready to do an interview. She was stumbling. She said she gave misinformation. I would hope that she have been to the actual scene and is not just getting intel. She needs to go lay her eyes on that before she says another
I don't think
word.
she's been there.
What do you think, Tommy? What's your take on things?
Well, just like both of you have had experience. I mean, we had Vice President Pence come to town shortly after the election at Springdale there, and as you stated earlier, the Secret Service they did an excellent job coordinating. I was fortunate to be the one that was coordinating the local effort in that, and it was a very interesting experience. But as you said, 80 to 85% of the resources that were involved in that protection were local, but everything was done under the umbrella of the Secret Service. When I look at that situation there, those rockets that they use now that come back down to the earth and they land, they actually like fire up and they come back down and land upright.
mm-hmm.
If we as a country can have that kind of technology, then there's absolutely no excuse for the Secret Service not having drones up in an area that would be very sophisticated, would be, the top of the line drones that could be scanning an area like that. I realize that the protective details that former presidents get is not the same thing as the active vice president or president get. But these are still the best of the best people. I don't find fault with the team that was protecting him. I thought they actually did a pretty good job overall. But as you said before, the inability to pick up on that suspect and to miss him on that roof with a rifle is completely and utterly inexcusable. And the director should resign without question.
So I agree with you, Tom, and I said this a couple times this week. Some of the criticism has been, so Candace Owens talked about an incident when Trump was president and her husband, they were somewhere and he walked somewhere he shouldn't have been and they all but shot him. But here's the deal: what she's got to realize is Trump's not the president. It's a total different ballgame, but because they provide for ex-presidents, wives of dead former presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's different levels to this game. And a sitting president, it's a whole different ballgame. He's got the nuclear codes. There's just a total different ballgame. But we're dealing with Donald Trump. You take titles out of it. You tell me what man or woman or anybody is more at risk than Donald Trump. I can just imagine, Joe, the amount of threats that come through that the Secret Service has to vet on Donald Trump. So I just don't. I don't feel like there was enough resources. And look, I'm not conspiracy theorying, but is there, you can't ignore the fact that he is so hated by this administration. was the Secret Service resource, not the local law enforcement, not the state of Pennsylvania. Was the Secret Service resources minimized, Joe, because it's Donald Trump and they don't give a fuck about him?
Oh, I think that's definitely something that's going to come forward, because if you look now after the fact, if you looked at his protection detail when he was walking into the RNC, it's a different group of humans, right?
Yeah.
It's a different quality of protection detail that he has right now. And you were saying before, yeah, past presidents have a different level, and that's understandable. But we also have to understand that he is the candidate for the Republicans to be the next president. So this is not just a former president.
Oh, I agree. He's someone who's running as a candidate.
Actually, a 50-50. If you take politics, it's right now 50-50. There's only two people in the game, right? We got Kennedy over on the side, and all he's going to do is draw some votes away. But
hopefully from Biden.
The possibility is that if you just look at it that way, 50-50 chance that this is your next president, and you aren't protecting him like he's potentially the next president.
No, you're right. And I'll tell you, so there's been a lot of criticism about the female protection detail that they have, the females that were on the detail. So, and y'all know this, and this is what is making me question the detail. I'm with you, Tom. I think they did a decent job at responding, but they utilize there's different levels on the Secret Service. They have investigators, they have people that just do protection.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like to me that the agents that were on him, on his body, were not protection specialists. They look more like, and I'm just assuming here, I have nothing to go on except my observations. They look more like field agents that get plugged in. If that's the case, if I'm right, then heads need to roll on that.
Yep.
Because protective specialists, people that do this every day, there's been a bunch of criticism about one of the females and her holster and her weapon. She did not look like. I'm sure she's a competent person. I'm sure she is a hell of an investigator. She didn't look like she was a protection specialist that does this every day. And you tell me that Donald Trump should not have that type of detail.
Right. And
that's why I'm blaming Mayorkas, or however the fuck you pronounce his goofy ass name.
That was accurate.
That guy's about a bozo. He is a ass clown, bozo, and every other stupid word that I come up with. And Cheadle, I don't know why they're there today. And that's what I'm upset about. I don't think the resources were properly given. I'm not going to criticize the 80% out there because they're just plugged in. I'm blaming the top, especially now that they want to start blaming locals.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You want to start blaming locals? That's why you're in the fucking shape you're in now, Cheadle.
Yep. Well, I can tell you this. When they were in our city for the vice president, they were calling the shots when he was there. We had a command post set up, and even though I was the local ranking person in charge, I didn't do squat without their approval.
Absolutely. I've been the lead guy for 6 visits.
Yeah.
We're the lead local agency, and I was appointed by the sheriff to be the lead guy for our agency, and I made no fucking decisions by myself.
Yep.
I gave suggestions because they would be dumb not to ask us because it's our area.
Right.
But I didn't write one plan.
Yeah.
They go and say, I need 5 guys here. This is where we need to. We provide the resources.
Right.
That's all we do.
Yeah. Same with us.
Well, and one comment I wanted to make too, since you brought that up, James, about the one agent that seems to struggle with the holster. When I watched that video after about the 6th or 7th time I watched it, I was surprised that the agents that ran up to protect him and to encircle him, I felt like they were kind of like tentative. They, like you said, they weren't people that were used to doing that. And then even the two guys that jumped up on stage in the SWAT gear, they even looked like they were kind of, I mean, I hate to say this, almost a little like caricatures. Like they weren't like they clearly, those guys on the roof took that dude out with a headshot in a split second. That was excellent. But these other folks that were on there, and again, same with that agent. I don't mean to be critical of her, but I'm sorry, it is not that hard to find your holster with a gun, especially if you're wearing a formed holster like she was. She never once looked down at it. I'm sorry, if you can't holster your weapon, look at it. Look at your holster and slide the gun in there. To me, that's just. I couldn't agree more. These were not people. The appearance to me, I'm not saying that they weren't. The appearance that I saw on television were people that were not used to being in that role. And
I agree. I think they were competent agents, but I just don't think they were those protective specialists.
No, I think your observation is right on. I agree with you.
No, and I think that was evident when they allowed him to be up again when he shouldn't have been.
Right.
Right? Because
their
job is to get him down, out of view, and get him out. Right?
Well, they let the principal, first off, they let the principal dictate. And at that point, you ain't dictating shit, Donald Trump. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Not in charge.
You're going to do what he can't. Now, to their defense, Donald Trump doesn't know how not to be in charge. Exactly. But at that point, you're going to do what the fuck I tell you to do with your blown off ear. Come on, man. This, so, but I also think that if it was protective specialists, if he didn't have those types, man, I just don't. That shows me that how much they cared about him. So,
like you were saying, Tom, today I had a conversation with another my partner that I work with all the time, and I've done law enforcement scenario instructor development training for decades, and what I saw with that is that she had a significant cortisol and adrenaline dump into her system, right?
Absolutely,
and that's why she couldn't reholster. Because she had no ability to be able to do that from memory and muscle memory. And then she actually recognized the fact that she couldn't get it in it. Then she took it to the low ready. But then looking at the equipment as the wrong holster, you don't have that type of holster. Why does she have that type of holster? I'm just speculating because it prints less because it's so close to the body when you have a suit on, right? But the thing is that any normal person doesn't know that you're the Secret Service, you're going to have a gun. I don't give a shit what it looks like when it prints. You've got to have the right equipment on, number one. And like you were saying, James, is that this was a group that did not know how to take somebody down to the ground and keep them on the ground. That's what a protection detail can do.
And I didn't have a problem. Now, one of the persons I was on the podcast with the other night made issue, and I'm good with their stance, made issue with him, the 33 seconds that took him to get out of there. I didn't have a problem with them covering him and keeping him on the ground. I had no problem with that at all. The problem that I had is once they got him up, he should have been fucking gone. His head should have never been exposed.
Right.
And, you're not always going to get somebody. I mean, he's a tall man. Donald Trump is 6'4".
Yeah.
Well,
so you're not going to just be, have people who are 6'4", but I don't know if that was the right detail, right person.
Well, most of the people, especially the ones you see on the actual president's detail, most of those people, I'm certain are special forces people, and they are buff to the max. I mean, those people, there'd be no way he could fight them from carrying him out of there. And I also, one observation I thought was very strange too, was when they were protecting him, like you said, when he stood back up, they kept putting their hands up like they're, to shield his face. You can't shield a head with a hand of a high-powered rifle. I don't understand what they were trying to do there. And again, I don't mean to be critical of him, but again, I couldn't agree more with you. The minute he's up, he's out of there. You don't stand there with your hands up and surrounding him, trying to keep him out of sight. You get him moving.
Fuck you, Donald Trump. Your ass is gone. That's just how it is. I'll apologize and beg for forgiveness later, but I'm sure he would be forgiving.
Yep.
Well, but you got to admit,
if he can forgive you, then you have gotten him out of there.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I got to say, that dude went out like a man. I mean, come on.
Oh, I love the picture. I mean, that'll be an iconic picture forever.
Oh, and people saying that is staged is bullshit because y'all two know this. You're not faking when you're being shot at. Y'all have been in high stress situations. Y'all have been involved in these kind of incidents where your true character, his true character, I've never hated him, but I've never been this diehard Trump guy.
Yeah.
As a man, he went, and there's kind of leaders that we need, people who are men, people who are, and if you're a woman, people who are strong, and people who are he showed what kind of leader he is. That guy doesn't get fazed, man. Got shot and said, "Fuck you, let's fight."
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
that's what leaders do.
And that's what's going to get him elected. If anything gets him elected, it'll be the fact that that moment, that iconic moment where he stood there with it fighting like you're not going to take me down. That was incredible. Absolutely.
Dude, hey, listen, is there any possible way that you could orchestrate that photo in that moment?
Of course not.
There's no way you could.
No.
It's like all you have seen by him doing that is that he was one bad motherfucker.
That's
exactly what it is.
If you saw my Facebook post that night, I put on there, politics aside, this guy is a badass.
100%. No, 100%. It doesn't matter what your politics are. The man showed his true character.
Right.
So, Tommy, let me throw something at you.
Oh boy, here we go.
You're gonna be ready for this one. I know you're gonna love this one. So I'm gonna throw something at you. You said on one of the first shows that we've done, and it always stuck with me, and I brought it up several times. So there's some critique of, there was an officer that supposedly went on the roof, and the guy pointed the gun at him and he retreated. And there was also there's a lot of criticizing officers, they didn't act when they could have.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started thinking about that, I thought about something that you say a lot. Do you think it's possible that there was hesitation due to the climate, the anti-police, and people are hesitating now because they don't want to go to fucking prison? What's your thoughts?
Honestly, at that moment, with those stakes, I would have to say that I don't think that an officer would be as inclined to refrain under those circumstances. But what I don't believe, and again, I don't know that that's true or not, that occurred. Do you know that to be a fact, or is that a story that's out?
That's a story, but somebody did back it up and say he peeked over the wall. Some administrator from the city, some jerk off, that he peeked over the wall and somebody was holding. I don't know, but I can't help but think about that, Tommy, that cops are hesitant now.
But here's what I would say to you. There's no doubt that if an officer was in a position to poke his head up to where that guy was in that building, then that officer would have had direct communication with people that would have been in the command post and would have been able to relay the information immediately that there was a person with a rifle up there. And in all likelihood, that guy would have been taken out beforehand. So I don't believe that the officer would have hesitated based on the climate. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I think a lot of officers do. I think what we're seeing these day and age, especially, is that officers are more afraid to act in the day-to-day routine things that they used to do, like traffic enforcement and arresting people and those kind of things. I do think that when it comes down to deadly force, I do think there is a percentage that don't react as quickly because they're afraid, or maybe they get behind the curve because they're afraid of what's going to happen, and then either wind up getting killed or they maybe make a bad decision or something like that. But I believe that more of that hesitation comes from the more routine things that you have more time to think about and to kind of deliberate on what you're going to do, versus all of a sudden I'm at a Trump rally. Oh my God, there's an armed guy right here and he pointed a gun at me. I don't think there's any question. I would have probably ducked, put my gun over the top of that thing and started unloading.
Duck, but then re-engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So you brought that up. Communication was, to me, more than anything, communication was the biggest problem, because how did it not get communicated that there was a man on top of the roof? Went on several minutes that people were identifying. How did that not get to? So you got to look at that. Was there, people are so protective of their channels. No, this group's going to be on this channel. This is an exclusive channel. Did this low-ranking officer that engaged, did he have to contact a guy to contact a guy to contact a guy to contact a guy? You see what I'm saying?
Yep. One other thing I wanted to throw out there, I heard a story, and again, I don't know if this is true because I've been literally spending every waking minute since that happened just about on a train. So I I haven't been able to follow the story.
Well, you're a working man now. You're a full-time train man.
I know. I wish I would have liked to have followed it more, but I saw a post in which supposedly one of the agents that was on the roof that engaged the guy, one of the snipers, supposedly said, I had this guy in my sights for several minutes and I was trying to get the green light to do it. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't buy that post because, first of all, anyone that airs that on Facebook is a chucklehead because he should go through his own chain of command for that if there's an issue. Number one, and number two is
that's bullshit because I heard they fired. I think all that's bullshit.
Okay, because I don't think you would need a green light.
There's things that we heard too, and
okay,
Clean saw that, and I'm like, no, there is no such thing as green light in this situation.
Yeah, I figure those guys have green light. If they see something like that, they can just go.
From what I know, and I think y'all the same way, they have a lot of leeway when it comes to that. So I'm not buying that. But I'm anxious to kind of see what's coming out. But again, I think that it's 100% an issue that comes.
Hold on a second, guys. I got to step away a minute.
It sounds like his dog's going nuts over there.
I know. Thank God. Well, at least it's not a tornado.
Oh God, I know, man. Y'all always got some bullshit.
I still can't believe that happened during the podcast.
That is, yeah, that's good stuff. So
it was.
No, but I think that it just comes down to, and it's not because I hate that administration. It's not. Something like that only to me happens when you have a weak leadership from the top.
Yep.
Because I know what kind of agents they're top-notch people, man.
Yep.
There's some kind of policy. There's something going on at the top that is causing this.
Well, I'll tell you what else is a problem in the Secret Service. And you're right about the leadership. But one thing we didn't talk about yet, which is for sure a factor, is their reduced numbers of agents. They are scrambling to get people. Look how many people are disenfranchised with the government right now in general, just either party, just about government. How many people do you think are lining up at the Secret Service front door to say, I want to take a bullet for some jackass who's a politician? Probably not many. Yeah. We all know how much police departments, local police departments are struggling to get people. The Secret Service is having a horrifying time getting people to sign up. So I'm sure they're spread super thin.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right on that. I guess they're I didn't think about that, Tommy. They're no different than the rest of us.
Well, they are different because they historically have been ultra exclusive as to who they've let in the door.
Yeah.
And now with the shift of people not wanting to get in the business, and if you've got the bar is so high that it was very difficult to get people in to begin with, they're just saying, guess what? See ya.
Tommy, Joe, you're right. I said this the other night. So this officer that supposedly encountered the guy and then retreated, okay, if he did that, that's a cowardice act. But like I said the other night, I'm going to say it again. Have we come to the point to where we're now having to be just, we're looking for warm bodies and we're letting people who are going to commit cowardice acts in? That's something that if this guy, and I'm not accusing this kid, I say I'm sure he's in his early 20s. I'm not criticizing him, but we can't say that we're just having to take warm bodies now. That's something that we can't ignore. That's happening. That we're having to lower our standards. Of course, just like Joe said, that's an issue that they got to pick. They probably have. They're picking 20 people out of thousands, and the pick of the litter is not there anymore. And so if we have cowardice problems, it's because it's the culture and the atmosphere has become so bad that people who are brave, men and women, man's man, strong women, they said, fuck you, I'm doing another career. I'm not doing this job anymore.
Yep. I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think there's any question that we are seeing a time where standards are being lowered. That doesn't mean we have bad people out there, but I do think that they are taking more, they're overlooking things that they wouldn't have overlooked in the past, whether it be for municipal policing or whether it be for federal policing. They just are.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, Joe, with the Secret Service, but you're right. They got the same problem we have
Well,
on the
and
local
and
end.
you both have been around long enough to have been part of your educational process. Was talking about the 1970s in Miami, right?
Yep.
When they lowered the standard, and what did they do? They hired a bunch of criminals.
Yep.
Right.
They were hiring people with warrants.
Exactly. They were
Right.
hiring criminals because they lowered the
Yep.
standard because they needed numbers.
Right.
So
I
what
think
we
we're
have
getting to
done,
that point. I think we're
we
getting
have
there.
lowered the standard because we need the numbers. And if you lower your standard, you are going to get a lower standard of quality of people.
No question about it.
Yep, I agree. So let's
And there's
talk about
people that are just trying this job on to see if it's going to work for them or not, rather than it being a career.
I agree. We're gonna keep watching that. And so Joe, what you got going on this week? Tell us about your you don't have anything going on, do you?
Well, I got two 16-foot pods sitting in the road in front of my house that were delivered today. So we are, I'd say 95% packed. Friday, we got a bunch of movers coming to move the stuff out of our house into those pods. And I'm praying that it fits. Otherwise, but we have time to figure this shit out, right? So we are in the process of moving. We're going from Texas back to Wisconsin to be close to our soon-to-be grandbaby, which is an amazing journey. And you guys both know it's been a long,
it has
pothole-filled journey, but we're very grateful that we're where we are, and we're in the position and the ability and the flexibility because of what this country allows us to do. Is that we made a decision. We're going back.
I don't blame you, man. So you're going to give your boots up? You got to give your boots back?
Oh no, I'm keeping my boots. I'm looking at my hats that are sitting in front of me.
Yeah, you got to give your hats back, man. You're not a Texan no more.
Oh no, I've got enough now that I feel that I've been Texified. So
well,
we're going to be somewhere south in at least in the winter months. So who knows? We might come over to Lake Charles.
Hey, you come on to Lake Charles, man. You got a place here. So Tommy,
yes,
Friday,
sir.
Me and you, band is back together, baby.
What are we doing Friday?
Yeah, we having a drink in person Friday.
I have a special thing I'll be bringing along to present to you that you can feel free to open it on the show.
You guys are going on Friday?
Yeah, I'm going Friday. Yeah, I get there. What time you get there, Tommy? I get there around 4.
I'm flying out. I think I get there around. Oh gosh, I think it's maybe like 12 or 1 p.m. something like that.
Okay.
You're not taking the train?
Well, I was going to. The problem with taking the train is the train arrives in Kansas City at like 10 o'clock at night from Chicago. So it's not worth getting a sleeper, and I don't want to. It's just that's one thing, and the other thing is, well, listen to this. I'll make it fast. So the new railroad ownership, obviously I'm full time now, and I don't, my vacation time doesn't start until 90 days into my appointment, right? They are completely and utterly supportive of my NA. What's the word I'm looking for? Being on the NA board with the Ohio chapter and being involved in that they are allowing me to go unpaid for 4 days to Kansas City so I can fulfill my obligations and to be able to do this presentation for the NA there. And I couldn't be more appreciative of them. They've been fantastic.
What day are you presenting?
Monday at 4 o'clock.
Good. Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be a good time. And
oh man,
I'm bringing some Bayou rum with me. We're gonna have some Bayou rum.
Boy.
Damn,
yeah, it's gonna be good.
I tell you what, man, it's like there's certain things that I hate missing, and it just happened. I don't know how this all lined up that it allowed me not to be at a couple of things I needed to be at. But
we understand. But yeah, we're gonna miss you.
Oh look, I'm gonna tell you what I did. So I did some shuffling this week, man. We're starting to get pretty busy on my other business, and I had talked to a property manager today. I said, hey, if you don't get approval for this by tomorrow, I'm out.
Yep.
So I've been trying to tie everything up because there ain't no way I'm missing that. It's gonna be a fun time. I think we're gonna make some good connections, Tommy. Hey, bring your shirt now.
Oh, I will, because the highlight of the FBI National Academy Conference in Kansas City is going to be the James McGee Show.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Well, hey, I'm bringing. Yes, I'm gonna have a shirt. Hey, we got to try to get. I know Paul's gonna be busy, but maybe we can try to nail him down a little bit.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
try to-
You know what? I'm going to call him as soon as we get done talking here, and I'll see if he can do it.
So
Yeah.
when are you going to do the show?
So, well, Tuesday is the gala. Maybe we can. It depends on. I don't know what you got going on Tuesday. We might do a little pregame, but I might try to do something Sunday. Try to get everybody together. And logistically, it's gonna. But you know what? Fuck it. We'll just do it. And I'll have a mic, and we'll just pass it around. And it may not work on camera. We may just do an audio only. But I want to try to get. And I'm probably going to do a couple individual shows just in my room.
Mhm.
I got to get Hannon and Cerrone. That's a
Oh,
comedy
my
show.
God.
I got to get them too.
Oh, my God. That'll be fantastic. I want to be there just to watch it, even if I'm not on.
Well, you got to be there being an interpreter. Nobody's going to understand what the fuck they're saying.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I do speak
You got
Boston.
Boston. Look, you can imagine this. You got Boston, New York, and Louisiana.
Oh, my
Nobody's
God.
going to understand us.
I'll be the only person there without an accent.
Yeah.
I think you could go live on your phone, Jim.
Yeah.
You could just do it on your iPhone. Tom, you're on your phone tonight, right?
Yes.
You could.
No, I'm
you
bringing
could
my
do the
laptop.
show
We
live
could,
on your
we
phone.
could do it. We could do it there. We're gonna figure it out. But I want to get a couple of them guys and hopefully, Tom, we make some connections and I hope we'll wear our shirts and hopefully some people ask us and we get some people that want to come on as guests. There's some high level people at that place, man.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
So we'll get them. All right. So anything in closing that you want to go over, Joe?
No, I just think that we're like you said, we're at a very interesting part in our history right now. That we've got to do what's right, and we've got to fix this country. And I think that it's just interesting that will happen in the next week. Now that supposedly Biden has COVID, and that he's made the statement that if a doctor tells him he's got a medical condition, he'll remove himself. I just think that everything has opened the door for him not to be the candidate now. So
I think I'm glad you brought that up. I think he's done. I think that they're using this as an out and he's done. And we'll see. It's going to get interesting because that's when the power struggle is going to start.
Yep.
Because you've got Newsom. You've got, of course, Kamala thinks she'll be the nominee. But you got Michelle Obama. That's
the one that's going to be a potential problem is Michelle Obama if she gets it.
You mean Michael?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Not sorry.
But yeah,
I don't think Brock's husband would be too bad.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah. So, well, Tommy, we will. What about you? You got anything you want to add?
No, I'm just really looking forward to seeing you in person, man. I just can't wait. I just cannot wait. And the other thing I was going to maybe make a suggestion that on the night we do our session night, maybe we can do something like get a bite to eat and then have the group get together and do the podcast then there.
We can do it. No, that's what. Yeah, we're going to do. I'm going to tell you what, we're going to do something. We're going to figure it out. I decided not to try to plan it out. I'm going to get there, look at the layout. We'll go steal a classroom. We're going to do something. I'm bringing equipment. And we're doing something. I just don't know what we're doing yet.
Yeah.
Well, keep me in the loop. I'd like to jump in remotely.
Oh no, you're going to be in. No, Joe, you're in. No matter what, we're going to plan this thing around you. You might be on the road driving, but we'll get you in.
Well, we won't be driving, but I'll definitely jump on if I can. So that's for sure.
Excellent.
Sounds good. All right. So until next time, McGee, Wells, and Collins are out.